All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video where we're going to be breaking down our futures contract per usual. Did not make a video Friday or yesterday, just busy with work. So we're going to go ahead and look at it before we get started on the new trading week coming tomorrow. We ended the end of the week on a down note. Okay, the market has been one time framing down on the daily time frame. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and start it all off with our larger time frames, just to kind of give ourselves an update, and then we'll go into the smaller time frame, mark our destinations there, and then get you guys on the way. So let's see. Let's go ahead and look at our monthly time frame. Okay, one time framing up, still one time framing up, even though so far this month has been an inside month. Does not mean that we stop the one time framing up. The only time we will stop the one time framing up or the trend up is if we take out a previous month's low. And seeing how we are, rather far away from last month's low, the likelihood of that is very slim. But because of the range being so large, the likelihood of us having a inside month, the probabilities of that are pretty good. So right now, one time firming up on the monthly, right? Monthly still very healthy. We need to take out that all-time high of 48.3975. The only issue is in the futures contract, we've made all-time highs on the year. However, SPY, on the other hand, has only gotten a few destinations, like 2 or 3 more daily highs on the upside to get to their all-time high. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and... Oop, that's not what you want to see. Let's look at that real quick. I believe it is going to be that one. Yep. Let's go ahead and look at the SPY just so you guys can see. So SPY's all-time high is 479.98. We got up to a high of 477.55. So we were just a couple bucks off of the all-time high. So we have yet to take it out on SPY. Okay, SPY is yet to set all-time highs. Got very close to it, but have not taken it out yet. So once we do take that out, should be clear skies ahead, right? You would think anyway. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for all-time high here, 479.98 on SPY. Where was that? Okay. Let's go ahead and get back to our ES futures contract. And here we are, monthly, right? One time framing up, all-time highs. Let's look at the weekly. Now, last week, we had a healthy pullback. Okay, nothing to scare the market, right? But we've had a healthy pullback once hitting all-time highs. So we've hit a rather healthy pullback. We've been one time framing up 9 weeks in a row. A couple weeks ago, I was discussing how the average is about 9 to 12 weeks of a straight one time framing run up. Okay, that's only happened a handful of times where we just one time frame up continuously. For 9 to 12 weeks is typically what I found whenever I went back and looked back, right? And by one time framing up, I mean we did not take out a previous time frame's low until we hit the high, right? So we finally took out a weekly high, and now we're going to call this a 4-week balance. After looking for it for a little while, 9 to 12 weeks, right? We were looking for that. Usually happens anywhere from 15 to 20% of a run up. We had that. So we were bound for a bit of a pullback and some consolidation on the weekly time frame, which is not unhealthy, right? You want to establish some acceptance above a level, right? So right now we're trying to find acceptance above 4,700. We tried to find it above 4,800, could not. So now we're getting a second opportunity to find buyers around the 4,700. If we do not find buyers around 4,700, we will continue to pull back and test what I'm going to call our balance low now. Okay, so this is going to be our balance low of 46.53. Okay, that is going to be our weekly balance low. All right, basically, you want to see buyers hold that. If we do ever get near that area, okay, we want to see buyers step in. And kind of want to make this a little bit larger. With the 4. And then our balance high now is going to be 48.3975 all-time high. Okay, that is going to be our balance high. So now we can continue to consolidate inside of this range for quite some time. We don't have to take it out right away, but it will be We could consolidate the rest of the month here, right? We can continue to consolidate inside of this range. It is a rather large range, so we can continue to consolidate inside of this. It's not impossible for us to do that. So we might come down, test the low. If we can't break it, we'll come back up and test the high. If we can't break that, we'll continue to do such until we come out of this one way or the other. Okay, so we are now in a balance on the weekly time frame, right? Sellers want to continue to push this thing lower, test below the 4,700 level, right? So that's going to be a key area, in my opinion, is below that 4,700. If buyers can or sellers can really get this thing pushed into the downside. I'm not expecting that, but especially with the way the market was looking on the shorter time frame, and I'll show you what I mean by that here in just a little bit. But I'm not looking for this market to just dump to the downside. Now on our daily, let's look at our daily within this weekly balance. Okay, so keep in mind what I have marked on the chart here is our weekly balance. So you can see we've come up, hit our head up here, and now we're coming down. So you want to find buyers basically within this range. Okay, right? That's going to be your support. For those of you that like to look at support and resistance, right? That is your support area. You want to find buyers there. You want to see a bounce on our daily time frame within that range. So sellers want to come down, push through that, and then start potentially getting near that 50-day moving average on the downside. We've closed below the 22 days in a row. One day doesn't make a market. Does not mean we're going to sell off with any significance to the downside. However, range and volatility have been starting to pick up. The only issue is extension below previous day's range has been kind of null. It's not, there's not a whole lot of push below a previous day's time frame. We've been struggling to go trend or hold trend to the downside. So it just leads me to believe that these sellers are just some profit takers along with some momentum sellers to the downside. So just a little bit of profit taking and some momentum selling to the downside. So I'm not expecting us to come down. So if we can consolidate within this range on the weekly time frame, within this weekly balance, the 50-day moving average could creep up and act as some type of support. By the time we get down to that point, around the 4650 level, if we break below 4700, if we get to that area and the 50-day moving average is creeped up, that could act as a really good support area, or an area where buyers are interested in getting involved, and then sellers are interested in exiting their positions, which would cause a buy imbalance. Okay, so our daily's been one time framing down since we broke out of this balance here, right? We were in a tight little balance here. 48.39.75 was the high, and then our balance low was 47.84.75. Once we took that out, sellers, anybody that sold below 47.84.75, they might have taken some profits at the 20-day moving average, and now they're starting to take even more profits as we start to creep down lower. And like I said, their target may be the bottom of the weekly balance, right? May be below that 4,700 level. That might be their target. And then obviously the 50-day moving average if they are bag holding, for anybody that is swing trading this to the downside after we broke that low. Okay, so they're in the money pretty good here, looking to push this thing lower for the sell side. Now, like I said, buyers want to step in 4,700 and continue to hold in this area. The one-time framing down on the daily continues until we take out a previous day's high, right? So come tomorrow, we need to take out the high here of, what is that high? 47.60.25. So we got to take that high out, get back above the 20-day moving average, and then that will put us back into, depending on how far of a move up we get, will initially put us into a 4 or a 5-day balance, depending on how far we push to the upside. There is a little bit of overhead resistance. I do believe we still have a trend day, double distribution trend day to the downside that we have to take back, but should be no issue for buyers if we take out a previous day's high, right? The market overall is trying to move higher. It's been trying to move higher over the last several weeks. It's trying to move higher in the bigger picture. So if buyers can get their gather their stance, they can push this market back to the highs where we will test our weekly balance high, right? Baby steps. Buyers need to put the daily back into balance, break out of balance to the upside, and then the weekly can then begin to we'll test that weekly balance high at 38.75 or 39.75, excuse me. And I've been saying that wrong this entire time. Why didn't you guys say something? 39.75. So we'll have to take that out, and then we'll begin to one time frame up once again on the weekly and continue such on the monthly. All right, now let's go ahead and look at our 30-minute time frame here and kind of discuss what happened on Friday. So Friday, we opened below the price probe, and in that video that I posted on Thursday saying that if in Friday we could not take out the day's low and we got back above the price probe, we would come up to we'll come back up to the afternoon rally high of 47.51. If we get above that, we'll have a test of the previous day's high. Well, we did pretty much everything in that exact order, except for once we got near the previous day's high and value high, right? So value high being this blue area here. So once we got there, the market decided to roll back over. It was initially holding a double distribution trend day to the upside, but then we started to liquidate, coming back in, filling that set of single prints, and then had a rather large liquidation break to the downside, testing the initial balance low. We actually failed to get the initial balance high. Remember, the initial balance being the first two 30-minute time frames of the day. So A period and B period, right? First two 30-minute range, or basically the first hour range. And then we failed to break that to the upside, right? If we did, the likelihood of us getting that high up here at 66.50 was, pretty good. However, we couldn't do that. Sellers stepped into this market, maybe a little bit of profit taking after the short covering up here. And then the market decided to roll back over and attempt to continue to do what it did prior, right? And what I mean by lack of extension below previous day's low was after this trend day here, right? Let me get rid of all these destinations. After this trend day down, right, we had pretty good extension away from this previous day's low at 28 or 48.28, right? We got really good extension to the downside, ended up with a double distribution day to the downside, and then we continued to get good extension below a previous day's time frame, right? Good extension here, good extension here, and then we've been slowly struggling, right? We couldn't quite do it on Thursday. We couldn't get much extension below the previous day's range, right? We did initially, then we rallied, and then we sold off into the close, probing late in the day. So that was about the only little bit of extension, right? So we went from having, roughly from the lows, let's see, 30 point below that low, 30 points below that low, from high to low. So another 30 point range from low. And then on this extension to the downside, another roughly 20. So that's 25 points. And then that begins to slowly decrease, right? So we went from 30 to 25 to now 13 points below previous time frames low. And then now on this push down, 7 points below a previous time frames low. So sellers struggling to push this and get good extension below a previous time frames low, where we were having 30 point extension below a previous day's time frame here low, right? We are slowly starting to kind of find buyers step back into this market above the 4,700 level, where I said buyers want to hold. So come tomorrow, we want to see buyers take out destinations that we're about to mark on our chart, right? You can see here how we got below that previous day's low at 27, got into the single prints, couldn't quite fill them where they filled at 47.0875, and then we came back into the previous day's range, basically closing where we probed from below 37. So the primary level, I think, in my opinion, is going to be getting back above 37, getting above our afternoon rally high here at 45.50. If we do both of those things tomorrow, we will take out the previous day's high or Friday's high at 47.6025. I'm gonna go ahead and mark those real quick on our chart. If you guys want to mark them with me, let's see. Go ahead and mark them with me here on your chart. 47.6025 is going to be the high. That's going to be our upside destination, right? So we want to buyers want to take out this high here in order for us to stop the one time framing down on the daily and then come back into an initial 4 or a 5-day balance, depending on how far up we push, right? Depending on how much short covering we would get above those points. We do have an afternoon rally high here at 45.50. 45.50, and I'm actually in some SPY calls. Okay, believe it or not, I'm in SPY calls, thinking that at some point we'll come back into a balance and resume one time framing up on the daily. But obviously, if we continue to push down lower, my SPY calls will not be valid. I'm actually going to have a stop below 4,700. If we take out 4,700 on the downside, I will stop out of those SPY calls. I'm trying to kind of in a way pick a bottom, but based on all the information I just told you, how we're getting a lack of extension below a previous day's low, and how that range is slowly decreased, right? We went from 30 to 25 to 13 to 7, right? Because of that information, I think, and this could be a biased opinion, right? And biases can get you in trouble, but I'm thinking we will at some point come back into a balance on the daily. And I think this was all this was on the push down, was basically nothing but a little bit of profit taking and momentum sellers stepping into the market. So there are the destinations, right? So essentially, buyers want to get back above 45.50. Okay, we get above 45.50. 60.25 is the daily high that we need to take out in order for this market to come back into a balance. If we take it out, it'll be a 4. If we continue to push up above 71, it'll be a 5-day, and then so on and so forth. And obviously, as we'll be creating a balance, okay? So with all of that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Catch you guys in the next one. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like down below, comment something nice, and then as always, go check out camelbacktrading.org if you want a supported group of traders and mentor with Paul Asmore. So catch you guys later.